Okay, everyone, meeting is being recorded. Hopefully you can all see right now. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Share screen. All right, so right now, hopefully you can all see my screen. I just want you to be able to... All right, so everyone, thank you all for being here. Welcome to summer session 2 of Adult Sports Kickball. I'm super excited, and I love seeing the kickball community grow. I remember when I first took it over, I really didn't know what it was. And now we're at 8 confirmed teams, and I have 2 more teams that haven't called into pay yet. But that would put us at 10 teams, which is the most teams that I've ever seen in a season. And we might have an 11th as well. We'll see. We'll find out about that tomorrow. But yeah, thank you all again for all the teams who were in summer session 1. It was great having you, and I loved that everyone was there, had a good time, and we were able to get playoffs, and that was one of my favorite parts. So it's big. Yeah, whatever. So right now, I had a lot of requests from team captains expressing interest in a managers meeting. Mainly just so we'd have a chance to go over the rules, because I know there were some issues with rules in the past. Especially this past season, it's the first time we'd run a program in over a year and a half. First time, especially for our umpires getting out there. So this is a good chance as well, now that the community is growing even larger, so that we can discuss some of the rules, have a chance to interact with one another. You just get a really good introduction to how we expect the program to run. This is especially good for the newer teams who haven't had an opportunity to do this before, either because they're new to the program or they're just new to adult sports in Ventura in general. I know there are a few teams out there. So real quick, I just want to go over what we're going to be talking about in this meeting. I'm going to show you all right now our Team Sideline website, through which all schedules are going to be available, and any updates that happen are going to be going through. I'll also be showing you the manager's guide, which we'll be going over, and then I'll be showing you a few other forms that I'm going to have members on your team fill out, but we'll take care of that next week. So everyone who's here, thank you. For those who are going to be listening in online later, hopefully you can keep up, and we won't have any issues or questions this season. I'm sure they will come up, but we will address them as they come up. But I like having this so that we can address things as they come up before they happen. All right, so everyone, welcome to this website right here is Team Sideline. I know a lot of our returning teams are very familiar with it, but for our newer teams, this is probably going to be your best resource for anything kickball related. As you can see at the top right now, we're advertising for our kickball leagues. And the way to get here is www.teamsideline.com/Ventura. And I'll be sending out a link to this as well tomorrow. And bam, it takes you right here. We've got our homepage, free agent sign up. I know we have a free agent team right now, so this is probably how a lot of you found it. And then some other resources as well. Feel free to play around with this later if you'd like to, but right now we're going to scroll down. Over here on the left, you'll see the schedules. This is for all the schedules we have for all of our summer programs. You'll see soccer, softball, bocce ball from last spring, kickball, and here's the schedule from this past kickball session. There were a lot of updates to it, but you can see the standings were up here, the schedules down here, and we had our playoffs last week, and here are our playoff results. I know they're a little bit wonky, but congratulations to Booze on first. I'm sorry, there was a issue with the order, how the teams are displayed in the system, so these are the incorrect team names. I corrected them down here in the notes with the correct scores, so I apologize for that. I'll make sure to make it so that the team names are displayed correctly for next season. But yeah, so that's where you're going to find our kickball. Kickball session 2 is not available right now. The schedule will be released tomorrow afternoon. I will send out an email once it is available. Otherwise, though, you'll see everything's for softball, soccer, and then kickball right now as well. I'll be taking this down next week. So what we're going to go over right now is, if you ever have any issues or concerns, you'll scroll down to the manager's guide here. I'll open up a link here. And this is all the information you're going to need for the manager's guide for this season. We're going to go through this pretty quickly because you all have a chance to read this on your own. But this will be a good chance just for me to explain some of the things that I think aren't worded very well. just for us to go over it again, or go over it before it becomes an issue. Since you've all signed up already, thank you. Umpire fees are $8 per game, due at game time. I know in the past we've only had one umpire in one field, so you're able to just give him $16 for both games if you played 2 a night. But this upcoming season, your team may be split into 2 different fields, so please bring $8 separately. Also, some of our umpires are okay with using either Venmo or Zelle for sending money. Please check with them ahead of time if you and they would also prefer that. We don't enforce that, but it is an option if they're okay with it. Rosters are usually limited to 15 players. However, we do understand that some teams may have trouble getting players together. So if you need to put more than 15 players on a roster, that's totally okay, as long as everybody signs in and as long as everybody also fills out a waiver. Okay. We're going to be playing 8 games. You're going to have 2 games per night. Games are going to be 25 minutes with 5 minutes in between. All games are going to be played at Ventura Community Park, or Kickball Park as it's often called, either at Ventura Toyota or Auto Center Fields. This is the park with a large aquatic center. So what you do is when you turn into the park off of Kickball, you'll drive up to the roundabout. When you see the aquatic center, you'll turn right. You'll drive past the first parking lot and then drive straight down to the end of the driveway, and you can park anywhere there. Those big softball fields to your left are where the games will be held. If you need to forfeit, please let me know as far ahead of time as possible. If I have less than 24 hours notice, you're going to have to pay the officials' fees for those games. It says $30 here. I'm sorry, that's a softball forfeit fee. It will be $8 per game per team, so it would end up actually being $32. Please, if you're going to have to forfeit, please let me know. If you're having trouble with your game time, let me know as well. Oftentimes, I'm able to switch game times around to help people out. Okay. We've been having great weather so far this summer, knock on wood. But if for any reason that we are worried about the field conditions, we'll notify you by 3 p.m. if we're going to be able to play games or not play games for that day. I very much hope we won't have any issues because we're already going into late August with this season. So here's hoping for the best. All right. All right, so just into the rules, we'll go through this quick. It says 30 minutes here. That was for our first session. Since we've expanded the league, we're going to be going back to what it was before with 25-minute games with 5 minutes in between. Let's see here. The way kickball outs innings works is since you're pitching to your own team, the ball doesn't go back to the pitcher to call time. When calling time, it is the umpire's discretion to call time, so not individual players. Individual players cannot call time once they have the ball and they think people are stopping running. It's the umpire's responsibility. But once the defense has stopped offensive players from running, then the umpire will be calling time. If the offense is running, we're not going to call time. Okay. You'll have 10 players on the field at any one time, but you cannot have fewer than 7. You're going to have one catcher, one person right at the kind of like the safety line, which is 20 to 30 feet in front of the base. You have your 4 basemen, first, second, third, and shortstop, and then 4 outfielders. There is no co-ed outfield arc that you have to play behind, so your outfielders can come as far into the infield as they like when somebody is up kicking. So you can overload the infield if you'd like to. We do have an interesting kind of co-ed arrangement for numbers in that if you can only field 2 women, you can then only field 5 men. However, if you field 3 women, you can field 7 men. And any position on the field is considered a fielding position. So you can have a woman play catcher, any bases, or any outfield position, as long as there are 3 of your 10 women. 3 of the 10 players are women. So that's a little variation there we have in the co-ed rules. Okay, this is how an out occurs. You have 2 chances to kick the ball because you are pitching to yourself. If the ball is not put in play, by in play fair by the second kick, it's an out. If the ball is caught on the fly, if the base runner is forced out, if the base runner is hit with the ball, or if a kicker commits 2 fouls during his time at bat, which would be not putting the ball in play. Any hit above the shoulders, so the neck or the head, is not an out. The runner is given the base that they are attempting to run to. Play does not stop, though, in this regard. So if a player is running and they're hit in the head, they automatically get their next base. But if there are runners behind them or in front of them, the play doesn't stop because of that. Those runners, other runners, are still allowed to run as much as they like. Teams pitch to themselves. Pitchers cannot interfere with defensive players. If a pitcher looks like they're interfering, interference will be called and the batter runner will be called out. After a ball is caught, runners have to tag their originating base before running to the next base. This is referred to as tagging up. If they don't do it, if the ball tags the runner or the ball is thrown to the fielder touching the previous base, it is an out. There is also no leading off. So you cannot leave the base that you are on until the kicker at bat has kicked the ball. All kickers have to stay within that little kicking box around home plate before kicking it. If they step out, it's an automatic strike. Okay. There's also a 10-run inning cap per inning. So if you get to 10 runs in one inning, that's it for your team that inning. We're going to switch out to the next team. I didn't see this happen actually at all this season, but I have seen it in the past. And teams must always have a catcher regardless of team size. These are additional rules just for this summer. If the catcher, kicker, and umpire would please remain 6 feet apart at all times, that would be best. It would be nice to give yourselves wellness checks ahead of time. If you are exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19, we ask that you kindly leave the field. And that last one says all forms of sportsmanship should be touchless. In general, this means no high five lines at the end of the game. No one has been following this rule all summer, and I don't expect anyone to follow it for the rest of the summer either. Here's our code of conduct. Once again, I've never had an issue with kickball, so I'm just going to go through this one briefly. But basically, if you ever commit any egregious penalty, the umpire has the discretion to kick out an individual player. Any player who's kicked out of a game will be suspended for a week. Considering this season is 4 weeks, that's a long time. Those things are any physical contact outside of game play. So hitting, punching, scratching to a person on the other team, umpire, staff, or even a fan if you're getting too aggressive. Verbal abuse, objectionable demonstrations. This can qualify as using profanity towards other people, flipping the bird towards somebody else, outside of basically doing anything rude or anything like that towards, once again, the other team, umpire, staff, fan, anybody. Unnecessary rough play. We understand that this is a physical game. You are base running, so there is going to be contact regardless. This is also up to the umpire's discretion. If anyone is caught using unnecessarily rough tactics or overly physical play, they can be kicked out. And then please no consumption of alcohol at the City of Ventura parks. All City of Ventura parks are alcohol free, so please no bringing alcohol into the dugouts with you. No drinking during the game. All umpires are allowed to end games immediately without refunds if they catch you drinking in the dugouts. If you need to add a player at any point, please just let me know. You don't need to go through all these steps. Please just let me know. It's fine. And otherwise, at the end of the year, we do playoffs. Typically, the top 8 teams make playoffs, and we do playoffs single elimination bracket in one night. However, based on the number of teams that are signed up and how the schedule plays out, we may either increase teams or do a losers bracket. That is up in the air right now. That is still up for discussion. That has not been decided yet, but once we see how the season plays out, then we will have a decision to make in regards to the playoffs. Okay. I know that was very fast. Thank you all for bearing with me. I did just want to go over that as quickly as possible because, once again, it is right there, available on our Team Sideline website right here. So you all have access to it as much as you like. And I would like to just get into the more, what I feel is a much more important is a Q&A session, just so we can go over any rules or issues. So also, before the season starts, your team's going to have to fill out a roster. I'll be sending this roster out tomorrow as well. If you've already sent me one, thank you. If you haven't, don't worry about it. Go ahead and print one of these out, bring it with you to the field. We'll collect them on Monday. That's not a big deal. Everyone's also going to have to sign one of these. Once again, I'll have these for your team at the fields on Monday. So if you'd like to fill them out ahead of time and bring them, great, thank you. It's very much appreciated. However, we will have staff there ready to collect them. So these will be ready for you at the fields if you would like, or if you'd like to bring them or send them to me ahead of time, that would be fantastic as well. Everybody, that was the that was the rulebook. So at this point, I'm going to switch it to. I'm going to turn off share screen. There we go. And let's just go to the Q&A. I see there are already comments in the chat right now. So there's a question here. Why isn't it half and half? I assume that's in relation to co-ed. So this has been a rule in our kickball leagues for longer than I've been with the city. So I'm not sure when it was written, but I know that the reason it was written the way it was is because it was very hard at first when the kickball program was going to get women to come out and join teams and show up to play. Teams were having to drop out and forfeit because they'd only have 3 women to play or 4 women to play, and not enough to field an entire team. So the person before me, Max, he changed the rules to make it a little bit easier for teams to be able to put in to guarantee that games are going to be played. Once again, if the program continues to grow, I would like to adapt it to make it closer to half and half at least, maybe go to 4 and 6. But at least for this season, we're going to keep it 3 and 7. If we do see a little bit more growth in the program, then I would love to see it go to more half and half, 4 and 6, or something else like that. Okay. Any other questions? I know we have one person on the phone call, so if you do have a question on the phone, please feel free to ask it. Otherwise, if you have questions, please type them into the chat. Right now, anybody? The chat is open. And I'll also be responding to Keep Track as well.
I wanted to real quick cover the batter's box again. We always played as an umpire. The kickers can start outside the kicker's box. The key to that box is that the ball is made contact within the box. So the way you said it was a little different, but you can start wherever you want, but you have to make contact with the ball within the kicking box. That makes sense, hopefully.
All right, yeah, thank you, everyone. And just so you all know, that was Dan Zwickart. He's one of our umpires. He's been with the program since the start, I believe. So he explained it much better than I did initially. The ball has to make contact with the box before it is kicked. Kickers can start wherever they like. So Sam asked a question about handling the $8 per game. I don't understand. Sorry, Sam, I'm a little trouble with your question. Just have team reimburse you each week. So Sam, real quick, teams pay the umpires directly, right. $8. So however you feel most comfortable collecting money from your team to give to the umpire is going to be entirely up to you.
Okay. I was just curious if there was, if other captains had any experience with this that have done this before. Because, I'm managing a team of all free agents, so I don't want to be like nickel and diming people every week and be like, all right, everybody Venmo me 85 cents, and like, if that's what we have to do, that's fine. I was just curious if other managers had thoughts about how they've done that, where maybe they pay it all at the end of the year and one person pays or something.
All right, got a good response here from Rudy. Thank you. Collect ahead of time. When you collect registration fees. So if you want to divvy it out like that, so it'd be
$5.33.
Nice.
For 15 people.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so it'd be 16 times 8 would give you. So,
Okay. I appreciate that, guys. That's good to know. I just I'd like to do it all in one payment so I don't have to be Venmoing people each week. So thank you.
unfortunately, we have tried in the past trying to figure out ways so that you could pay up front, but since we pay our umpires as independent contractors individually, then this is really is the only way to do it. Unless, yeah, we've thought about other ways, but this is really the best way. But yeah, so if you want to think about it, then it's $140 registration fee with an extra $64, or no, sorry, it'd be an extra $80 $80 for games for 8 regular season games plus 2. Oh no, don't even include the playoff games. You don't know how many you have. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So $64 plus the 140 divided by my team size.
correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perfect.
Really quick, everyone. Dan mentioned a very good idea that I've seen with a lot of softball teams, especially, is he recommends that teams go out to. I mean, you can probably find this at any hardware store like Lowe's or I forget the cheap one that I always go to, or even like a teaching supply store. But if you get small whiteboards for your team to keep in the dugout to remember your lineups, that'd be a good idea for those teams that are having trouble keeping the lineups in order. But at this moment, are there any other questions?
I might have missed it. Is the schedule is going to be posted on the website tomorrow? You said.
Yes, it will. The schedule will be available tomorrow afternoon. I'll be sure to send out an email with a link to the schedule and all the resources you need for the season.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone, just had another question. When do I want the rosters turned in? Feel free to bring the rosters next Monday. I do find it is the most efficient way to make sure that I get signatures from everyone. I usually end up having to run people down to get signatures from them anyway. So just feel free to bring it on Monday. We'll get all the signatures we need on that day.
Hey, Tyler, I had a quick question. I think I may have missed it in kind of looking at some of the people's questions, but I think you may have already said it. But is it still going to be like it has in the past, like two guys kick, one girl, two guys kick, one girl? Or is it guy, girl, guy, girl?
So I don't know if we explicitly actually say this in our rule book. So I may have to defer to Dan on this one.
Because the guy, because if it, I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, when it's 7 guys, 3 girls, we found that batting the order of 2 guys, then a girl, 2 guys, then a girl works best. And because if you went the other way, guy, girl, the girls would kick way far more times than the guys. So
Yeah, that's why
how
I'm asking.
All right, and I see another comment here as
Yeah.
well. It says
when it's
no
7-3.
more. I just saw someone else commented no more than 3 guys in a row. So does that mean 3 guys to a girl, or is it 2 guys, 1 girl, 2 guys, 1 girl?
We've always done 2 guys and then a girl, 2 guys, then a girl. When it's 7 guys, 3 girls, it works out best that way. Is the way we've done it before.
Perfect.
Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
let's say it's 5 girls and 6 guys. Are we going boy girl, or is the same as, are we keeping it the same as everybody else with 3?
Yeah, good question. Because my team's going to be about half and half as well.
If
And it
it's-
also depends on who shows up, really. But
we're gonna keep things consistent for all teams, regardless of who shows up. It'll be you'll be able to bat 2 guys to each girl, regardless of your gender breakdown, because then teams
Okay.
would intentionally not bring women.
okay, that sounds fair.
Yeah. So it's going to be two guys. It's going to be 2 guys per woman, unless the team prefers to go guy girl guy girl.
One of our soccer guys was saying, is there some order in how we're supposed to leave the park or something like that? I thought he was saying that the soccer guys had to wait a few minutes before they leave. I don't know. He said something about the parking lot.
I think that may be an issue for our fall programs more.
Okay.
When we have when ASO is using those soccer fields, and we're competing for space with them. I think that's an issue, but we shouldn't have an issue right now. This is going to be the end of July, all through August, and there should be no other groups using the parks. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Okay. Everyone, thank you all for being here. Yeah, hopefully this helps address any issues or concerns we might have as well. Coming up this season, I'll be sure to email our chat discussion as well out to everyone, and I'll post a link to this meeting as well, just in case you feel like going back and reviewing it and hearing my lovely voice again, as if you won't hear it enough this season. Yeah, everyone, thank you all for being here. Have a great night. We'll see you out there next Monday.
Perfect, Tyler. Thank you. I appreciate it.